live on radio, live online. This is The Locker Room on Joy 99.7 FM with George Addo Jr.
Tennis is high on the sporting weekend's agenda as we look forward to the crowning moment of a truly dramatic, incident-laden, but enjoyable first Grand Slam of the year.
Final. A Grand Slam final. Victory for Sophia Kenin of the United States.
Team hits the backhand. Nadal with the forehand into the net. Dominic Thiem slowly raises his arms to the sky. Thiem comes out on the winning side.
I had really the feeling that I was lucky in the right situation. Net court was really on my side, but it's necessary because he's one of the greatest of all time, biggest legends this sport's ever had, so you need some luck to beat him.
Federer serves for the match, and Sangren nets on the forehand. And Federer, 7 match points he saved in the fourth set, and he's taken the decider by 6 games to 3.
Yes, we're in Melbourne this afternoon, and you know, the two-time Grand Slam champion Garbiñe Muguruza is up against the American Kenin in Saturday's final. And the male final will see a contest between one of the big three and one of the next generation. We'll be right in Australia for analysis ahead of 2 finals this weekend. Novak Djokovic is waiting in the wings. In football, the European winter transfer window closes tonight, and there are a few clubs going through the emotions as players who are desperate to sort out their futures.
There's certainly Eriksen range, but can he get it up and over the wall? Let's see. Oh, he can! In spectacular fashion.
It's been a difficult window to operate in, with price inflation, emotionally charged decisions and somewhat unpredictable reactions.
With leadership changes taking on the legacy of previous administrations in challenging circumstances, closing deals could be harder than many expected.
As the time to dot the I's and cross the T's comes to a close, will it be a big gamble or a chance to secure a successful future?
The clock is ticking. The closing of the January transfer window. One place to hear it all.
Manchester United have their man Bruno Fernandes. Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs and Barcelona will slot it out tonight on the Transfer Countdown show on the Joy News channel and Multi TV between 9:30 p.m. and midnight. We have our taps on immediate assignments for freshmen across the European leagues. Bruno Fernandes will learn a lot about Manchester United when they play against Wolverhampton. Leicester City face Chelsea in one of the weekend's headliners. The main event, though, is Jose Mourinho Spurs versus Pep Guardiola's Manchester City.
Mendy's ball in! Brilliantly finished! Sergio Aguero has his treble. Then clear air between himself and Schindler, and it's gone in off Congolo. Manchester City have 6. Well, Kami hasn't got it. Eriksen's kept it alive, and it's put it to the back of the net by Dele Alli. They've lost their chance, though, and Harry Kane makes no mistake second time round.
Liverpool play the informed Southampton. In Spain, Real Madrid would like to keep their lead when they face Atletico Madrid in the Madrid derby. Barcelona are home to Levante, and we preview all games, including the Serie A and the Bundesliga fixtures. Also coming up,
overlooks the ball into the area, heads the ball, and Kumasi Atletico has the first goal! Just display! Just a goal for Kumasi Atletico! The Porcupine Warriors draw first blood in enemy territory, 1-0.
After last weekend's Super Clash meeting, life goes on, with Giants, Accra Hearts, Seville, Kumasi Asante Kotoko back in the hunt for 3 points to further their course. Kotoko are back behind closed doors against Liberty Professionals. Hearts play Dreams FC and leaders Brecum Chelsea travel to Bichim. We have a full preview of match day 7 fixtures to come. If you'd like to send us a message, we'd like to read them via social media accounts. Joy/99.7 on Facebook, 0244340437 on WhatsApp, and you can tweet at us at JoySportsGH. We'll be in the Bukom Boxing Arena to preview Wasiru Mohammed's WBO Global Junior Featherweight title defense against Benin's John Amuzu. Time to talk about what the world is talking about in the world of sport. Hello from me, George Addo Jr., and welcome to Preview Friday. A very special Friday. Great to have you guys on board. 0244-340437. Yes, we're talking all sport. There's a big preview of the Australian Open finals to come. That's on Saturday and on Sunday. But we'll have to start with one place right here in the country. The Ghana Premier League is on match day 7. The Women's League as well is on match day 3. We'll start though then with the Ghana Premier League.
Live on radio, live online, this is The Locker Room with George Addo Jr.
Ghana Premier League next on The Locker Room, and Week 7 beckons, with life returning to normal after scenes of a full Accra Sports Stadium. Fans of Giants, Hearts and Kotoko daring it out, and good football on show. Hearts and Kotoko are still off the pace, yes, needing to catch Adriana Stars and Brecum Chelsea, as well as Ash Gold, who lead the way at the moment on the Ghana Premier League log. Hearts will have a date with Dreams FC. Kotoko face Liberty Professionals, and leaders Brecum Chelsea are away to Bechem. So let's get a bit of analysis now ahead of what's expected to be an eventful match day. And joining me on the show is my colleague Benedict Owusu. Thank you very much, Benedict, for your time then. After a wonderful spectacle last Sunday, a lot of neutrals will be on the lookout for the roll-on effect. Hearts travel to do. Kumasi Asante Kotoko are back behind closed doors against Liberty Professionals. So how do these games offer the opportunity to ride on Sunday's success?
Well, a lot of people will be looking at the attendance after what happened at the Accra Sports Stadium. That was last week in the Super Clash. I mean, it would have been nice to get people or fans in the stadium in Kumasi, but because Asante Kotoko are still serving their ban, the fans cannot make their way into the stadium. I mean, after that wonderful performance, which got them that 2-1 win, you know how their fans are. And I'm sure they would have, turned up in their numbers to support them to continue, their fine form. But that wouldn't happen. But I think on the pitch here, Asante Kotoko definitely will give everything in them. They come up against a side that managed to, win their last game against Wafa by 2-1. And we all know Liberty Professionals, their history at the Baba Stadium, and would want to go there and do something. But notwithstanding, with everything that happened at the Accra Sports Stadium, I think that Kotoko, of course, they go into this game as favourites and should win to make it back-to-back wins after that wonderful display against Accra Folk. For Hearts of Folk, going to Dewu is a different thing altogether. I mean, Dreams FC this season are ensuring that they make the Dewu Park a fortress, a place where at least their West will be a draw. And for Hearts, having lost to Asante Kotoko, they would want to quickly bounce back to winning ways. They came from a very bad place after losing back-to-back, and then Neo Doom took charge, started winning, drawing, only Asante Kotoko halted their win. So they would want to quickly bounce back to winning ways. I don't know how much that can help going into that game against Dreams FC. Dreams have their own way of punishing teams anytime they come to the Dewu Park. So I think it will be a difficult game. It will be one that whoever comes in a game and make use of the chances they create definitely will win. But I see Hearts of Oak getting something out of that game, at least a draw for the Phobians. And worst result for Dreams FC would be a draw, but I tip Dreams FC to win. If Hearts should win, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I don't think they can go there and get a win. At least a draw will be good for Accra Hearts of Oak.
Ben, the attention surely goes off Hearts and Kotoko, because they have a lot of work to do in catching up with Brecum Chelsea and Adriana, at least for now. The two are firmly in line to win as of now, but have tricky encounters in Bechem and Doma receiving Midyama.
I think for Brecum Chelsea and Adriana Stars, I mean, what a season they are having. They stand as the two teams playing some delightful football and getting some interesting results in the Premier League. You look at Brecum Chelsea, and everything this season is working for them. They hardly concede goals. They are always winning their games, and playing at home or going away to the Nana Fosuji Abo Park where they play against Bechem United. Mind you, Bechem lost their last game to Accra Great Olympics, and always anytime they meet at that ground is a different thing altogether. Forget about the form of Bechem United, forget about the form of Brecum Chelsea. It's a sort of a local derby there, so that really comes to play. I think that it will be a tough game. It will be one that I'll not be surprised if Bechem gets something out of this game, because they also would want to give their fans something to laugh about after that defeat to Accra Great Olympics. But I definitely will stick my neck out for a Chelsea win on Sunday at the Nana Fosuji Abo Park. And for Adriana Stars playing against Midyama SC, boy, what a game that will be at the Nana Ajman Bidu Park. Midyama, just as Adriana Stars, very formidable at their home ground. They make sure they don't lose points, and that's one thing that the teams in the northern part of Ghana are doing this season's Premier League. I mean, anytime you come to their home venue, they make sure they get all the few maximum points. At least even if they are not going to get a few points, at least a point should work for them. So I think that will be interesting. Will be picked. That's my top liner this weekend. The Adriana Stars, Midyama SC. I think that Aduana, for me, will go in the game as favourite, but I won't rule out Mediama SC. Mediama can go there and get a good result. A draw for me in that game won't be a bad result for both teams, but I'll go for the home team Mediana Stars to win that game.
All right, Ben, we'll see how those games go. Great Olympics have been on a fantastic run so far. Not the 100% you're talking about, but they drew with Elmina Sharks, they beat Karela United, and beat Inter Allies. Up next is a visit of Wafa. What's working for Coach Prince Kofi?
I don't know if you remember after match day 3 when they had not won any game, I told you that if they should start winning, it will continue. Their form will just come and it will be something else. Because, I mean, coming to this season, they signed some experienced players that we've been used to in the Premier League. I mean, the likes of Emmanuel Clottey, the likes of Gladson Awako, Godfrey Saka. You know, these are players that, you know, lighted up the Premier League some years back. And if Great Olympics are having, you know, made their way back into the Premier League, are having the services of these players, and then you should expect something. Yes, they started on a very bad note. After 3 games, they have not won any match, and then they started winning, went away, got a good result. They actually started from home, went away, drew, and also came back last week to win their game against Bechem United. I mean, yes, they still play at home. They play against Wafa, and what a game that will be. Wafa having lost to Liberty Professionals would want to bounce back to winning ways, but I think that Coach Prince Kofi and the boys are doing something right. What they are doing now is they've realized the quality they have and how, you know, the confidence is back. That's what they were lacking. They just needed their confidence back. Yes, they have the quality, they have the players, but you know, the tag on them that yes, they were going to come, add up to the numbers and go back into the Division 1. Now they've changed that totally. Anytime they play and watch them, you could see the mindset is totally different. It looks different from a team that have just come into the Premier League to participate and go back. They have a mindset of a team that have come to stay. And after their last game, their coach made mention of that they will do everything possible to stay in the Premier League. And I think that's what is giving them. Playing against Wafa, yes, Wafa, a very difficult side to play, whether you play against them at the Sugar Copper Park or wherever. But Accra Great Olympics, having won their last 3 games, they've won 2 and have drawn 1. It's set up for a very good game for them. Wapa lost their last game at home to Liberty Professionals, so that of course gives them some motivation to come out there and overturn that result. But I fancy Olympics to get a draw in that game. If not that, then Wafa will get the 3 maximum points at the Accra Stadium.
Benedict, there are equally great ties to come, and as we end this session of the show, I'm just looking at the battle of the stragglers between Inter Allies and Ken Faisal. 3 more games. Tell me the stories you'll be chasing all through the weekend. Yeah, interesting games to look forward to. Elmina Sharks will take on 11 Wonders. Well, both teams, it's not been too good for them. They managed to, you know, get some good results at home, but anytime they go away, a bit of a problem for them. Elmina Sharks, after that wonderful display they exhibited against Inter Allies at the Accra Stadium, which they actually won that game by 3 goals to 2. I haven't really seen any good performances from them away. I will straight away go for Elmina Sharks. They will win that game. It will be interesting to see how Yahweh Champion, the coach, and his assistant, that's Felix Abuaje, will put together a team to play against 11 Wonders. Karela United, Legon Cities. What a game that will also be. Legon Cities having to travel all the way to that side of town. They are compact with their new bus. I think this is the first time they are going there. So yes, they will have a feel of the road. You sit in a very nice bus, one that when it falls in a pothole, you will not feel it as a player or as an official. And then last week I was thrilled that they won their very first game of the season at the Accra Stadium. Going to Karela, who have been struggling this season. Our friend and brother Eloy Amandi, things not going well for his side at all. Legon City is very, very motivated to go there and do something. I think I'll go for a draw. Briefly, Ashanti Gold Ebuson Dwarfs at the Obuasi Clay Stadium. I think straight away it will be an Ashanti Gold win. Ash Gold this season, they have the quality. They have a coach. They've brought in a technical director who is always there to make sure the coach is doing the right thing. It will be an interesting week. It will be great. I expect to see a lot of goals as we did last week. Thank you very much, Benedict, for your time on the show. And there's definitely more to come. We'll be keeping you right up there in terms of updates on the Joy Sports Arena That's on Sunday at 4 p.m. Do join us for that. We've also got live commentary of the game involving Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. Now, though, let's talk about the Women's Premier League. That's on. They are matching into match day 3. So much to look forward to. Joy Sports' Susan Uswansa has put together that wrap, and you can enjoy this.
The Ghana Women's Premier League continued last weekend with an avalanche of goals, and Week 3 promises more exciting packages, plus a must-watch security service game between police ladies and immigration ladies at the Magdanla Community Park. Hazakers are still on a redemption mission after losing their 2 opening games. They will play host to Lady Strikers at the Seaphone Stadium. Halifax will entertain soccer intellectuals at the Tema Sports Stadium, while Samaria Ladies and Sea Lions both, who lost their matchday 2 games, will face off at the Parkwesi Indom Sports Stadium in Elmina. The Northern Zone will witness Fabulous Ladies at home at the Westco Park in Kumasi. They will hope to take home advantage to quench the fire in visiting Ampem Dakwan, who have recorded 9 goals in 2 matches. Prison ladies need to get to winning ways, but can they do it against high-flying Pelpia ladies at the Sunyoin Coronation Park? Northern ladies had a torrid weekend in Techiman as they suffered a 4-0 defeat last time, and they now entertain Ashtown ladies at the Aliu Mahama Stadium. Meanwhile, a rejuvenated Kumasi Sports Academy concluded the weekend's fixtures with a trip to Kumasi as they eyed their first 3 points against the struggling Supreme ladies.
Alright, so we look forward to that. There's more preview to come with Suzanne Uswansa on the Sports Review. That's tomorrow in the morning. If you can join us at 7 a.m. on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Now, time to talk the tennis. And you know, Dominic Thiem has made it through to his 3rd Grand Slam final. He's a man who will face Novak Djokovic, clearly the king of Australia, or the king of that first Grand Slam. He's done so well there, and that will be on Sunday in the women's final. We know what to expect there. Gabina Muguruza is up again, Sophia Kenning. Now, though, let's get into the big preview.
Live on radio, live online, this is The Locker Room with George Addo Jr.
Final, a Grand Slam final.
Victory for Sophia Kennan of the United States.
Thiem hits the backhand. Nadal with the forehand into the net. Dominic Thiem slowly raises his arms to the sky. Thiem comes out on the winning side.
I had really the feeling that I was lucky in the right situation. Net court was really on my side, but it's necessary because he's one of the greatest of all time, biggest legends this sport's ever had, so you need some luck to beat him.
Backhand Djokovic is deep, and Federer puts the backhand into the net. And I'm sure it's a feeling that never grows old for Djokovic. An 8th Australian Open final, that's a record. And now a 26th Grand Slam final.
Tennis next on The Locker Room, and 2 weeks of action in Melbourne will end at the weekend with 2 special finals at the Rod Laver Arena. Female singles final will see 2-time Grand Slam champion Gabini Muguruza take on American Sophia Kennan. And the male draw will have hardcourt constant Novak Djokovic featuring. Now, the first Grand Slam of the year had its battles with hot temperatures and the rain, but it's finishing with some gloss. Joining me now for a 3-way preview ahead of 2 finals this weekend, Australian tennis legend Mark Woodford, former Wimbledon champion Marion Bartley, and the BBC's tennis correspondent and commentator Russell Fuller. All 3 in Melbourne. Thank you guys for your time on the show. And we know Novak Djokovic moved a step closer to retaining the Australian Open title with a straight-set semi-final win over an injury-hit rival Roger Federer. Djokovic was 4-1 and 40-love down in the opening set before recovering to win the tiebreak. More on Novak shortly. Russell, that was a crazy tournament for the 20-time Grand Slam champion Roger Federer.
There was no real sign of it in the opening couple of rounds, where he played really, really well and was very efficient in winning in straight sets. And then it got tricky against John Millman in the 3rd round. Did really, really well to win that match, but it was 10-8 in a 5th set tiebreak, and it was over 4 hours long, and that was already telling us that Roger Federer probably wasn't going to win this Australian Open because of the way he was playing and because of the amount of tennis he'd already played in the first week. And that's before you even get to the Tennis Sangren match, which he won 6-3 in the decider, having saved 7 match points. So, as he says, 3% chance of winning against Djokovic yesterday. I think that's probably a fair assessment, because Djokovic, even if you are fully fit and even if you are Roger Federer, has this aura at Melbourne Park. It's almost getting as difficult to beat Djokovic on the Rod Laver Arena as it is to beat Rafa Nadal on court Philippe Chatrier at Roland Garros, and how difficult it was to beat Roger Federer a few years ago on Wimbledon Centre Court for our period. But I think they're minor issues. Federer clearly was restricted and we hope that doesn't keep him out of the game for too long. It doesn't sound as if it will, but I think with Djokovic, little tiny bumps on the road, but he's going to be a desperately difficult man to stop in that final on Sunday after a couple of days off and after going to the Botanical Gardens to climb his fig tree, which apparently he does every year at this time of year. That's Novak for you.
Well, Mark, it appears Novak is simply unstoppable on Rod Laver. He loves your hometown, Australia.
He certainly does, and he showed his colours tonight after a bit of a scratchy start. He was able to resettle himself and push through straight set victory over, an injured Roger Federer. But awaits him is the outcome of Dominic Thiem or Sasha Zverev. Dominic Thiem has certainly the firepower to match it with Novak from the back of the court.
Well, guys, victory will mean a record-extending 8th Australian Open triumph for Novak Djokovic, who has lost just 3 matches at Melbourne Park in the past 10 tournaments. It will also move him within 3 of the 38-year-old Federer's all-time record of 20 men's Grand Slam singles titles and within 2 of Spain's Rafa Nadal. This is some race to keep an eye on, Batley.
Well, absolutely, and I think there is a race that is going on between those 3 players of who is going to end up with the most Grand Slam, but you have to say that because Novak looks younger, I think his body is younger as well, and probably has a little bit more years, especially compared to Rafa, of course, compared to Roger. Probably Roger will stop before Novak and Rafa, but you still feel also Novak has a little bit more tennis in his life than Rafa. That feels his body is really struggling now, especially on hard courts, compared to clay. Probably have 1 or 2 more Roland Garros, but you have the feeling that the Serb might be the one at the end of the day is going to top up the other 2, and actually, he has been so much about Roger and Rafa rivalry for so many years, and the love of the crowd being for one or the other, that he might be the one at the end staying on top and being the king and sort of getting the love of everyone at the end of his career. And it's probably what he's looking for as well. He's been desperate to get the same love as the other 2, and he might be the one getting it at the end.
And I think Nadal is just starting to feel his age a little bit now. A comment he made after losing to Dominic Thiem was that he hits the ball so powerfully. He's younger, he made that comment, and he is going to be 34 in June during Roland Garros. And given the number of injuries he's had and the fact he's been out there since his late teens, I think we have to be realistic, don't we? And as Marion says, probably this year and next year are going to be the best chances for him to add to his Grand Slam titles at Roland Garros in particular. It's going to get very, very difficult after that, as I felt for a long time it would be for Federer at the age he is. And I know he so nearly won Wimbledon last year, but we can't keep expecting miracles.
So the next generation have been doing their bit. Tsitsipas out, Daniil Medvedev as well. It's been a great showing and really showed us a lot that they've got huge potential. But let's talk about the 2 semi-finalists. Whatever happens in the end, Dominic Thiem and Alexander Zverev. Final or no final? These are great feats anyway.
Well, for me, it's quite incredible, actually, that Sasha Zverev is just playing his first semi-final for Grand Slam. I feel I hear his name since so long, and yet he was not able to perform in Grand Slam at the way he should, and basically completely flying under the radar in here, actually having zero expectation about his level, just probably trying not to double foot 50 times during a match actually helped him to just probably be a little bit more relaxed about what he should do on the court and not taking it so seriously. I think I read an article saying that usually before in a Grand Slam he was really sort of checking out completely from his life and just trying to stay in a bubble, and that actually put him a lot more pressure, and he's just trying to take it in a more relaxed way. And I think maybe he has found the right fit for him in order to approach those huge events, and that might take more time from some other players to actually figure it out what they should do. And it's definitely another level of expectation when you're entering a Grand Slam. It's going to be the same for Sofia Kenin next time she's going to enter a Grand Slam in Roland Garros. When you made your final, you're expecting yourself to do extremely well the next Grand Slam as well. So there is a lot of things he will have to deal afterwards. But right now he's playing some great tennis. They know each other for so long. When you have grown up together, when you have played against each other in the juniors, there is also a lot more history between the two. And I think that match is probably with a lot more pressure than, what we can see from the outside.
So guys, let's talk about the female final tomorrow on Rod Laver between Garbiñe Muguruza and Sofia Kenin. Garbiñe Muguruza continued her recent revival by reaching the Australian Open final with a straight set win over Romanian Simona Halep. The two-time Grand Slam champion fought off 4 sets points in the opener and twice came back from a breakdown in the second. So it's Muguruza's first appearance at the Grand Slam since she won the Wimbledon title in 2017. Mark, what has she been doing right?
I think she's made some positive moves. The first one, rehiring Conchita Martinez, so that's a wealth of experience behind her. I watched a little bit of that match this afternoon, and obviously the extreme heat. I thought that the conditions that they were going to be playing under, it would affect Muguruza, simply because Halep, it usually doesn't, fail. She doesn't hesitate in conditions like that. And she had done a pre-season. She had acclimated here earlier. Wasn't to be. I was so impressed with Muguruza chasing on the baseline. She seemed to be prepared to put in the hard yards, and under a lot of pressure in that first set, she was able to survive. I was really impressed with her. Disappointed though that Halep, towards the end, there were opportunities for her to move forward, but that continual reluctance to actually finish the points put her in second place in the match.
Marian, you should have a lot of experience on this. Everyone knows Garbine Muguruza, of course, two-time Grand Slam champion. How about the American Sofia Kenin, hoping to win for the first time? She's not that popular, is she?
Well, especially because she's an American, and Coco Gauff probably took the whole media attention last year and this year as well here at the Australian Open. And of course, every time a Grand Slam is around, it's all about Serena, whether she can clinch her 24th one as well. But she has a very small staff. It's just her and her father, which in a way reminds me a lot about me and what I did in my career. But she's a very feisty competitor. She goes on court believing she can beat anybody. I actually really like her attitude when she's on the court. She competes really hard. She just plays every single point the best way she can. She has a solid game. Nothing stands out massively out of her game. She doesn't have a big serve. She doesn't have a big shot, but there is not really massive weaknesses either. And I just feel competing is actually her best strength, because she just go out there without thinking she's going to lose a match. And she didn't show up on Rod Laver Arena thinking it's good enough to be in the semi-final. If I lose to the number one player in the world, actually he was Australian, that's fine for me. She really stepped out there having the mentality to go and win the match. And it was a tight 2 sets. It could have gone either way. It was 7-6, 7-5. But she kept on really trying to retain her unforced serves to the lowest as possible and just use the court really well. And, that's her. She just give you the ball and ask yourself whether you can hit winners. And Ash was not able to do it enough in order to win the match.
So we look forward to the finals on Saturday and Sunday as the first Grand Slam of the year wraps up. And Dominic Thiem is the man coming up against Novak Djokovic. That's the final on Sunday. Novak Djokovic will want to really go up there and win it. He's made that court his. Rod Laver, that's where it is. And as well, we say a big thank you then to Australian tennis legend Mark Woodford, to former Wimbledon champion Marion Batley, and the BBC's tennis correspondent and senior commentator as well, Rasa Fuller, all in Melbourne. Now we have to quickly find out what's happening with the Joy Sports BBC two-way series. John Bennett has been on hand. We're chasing transfer deals because today's transfer deadline day. Here you go. Thanks, John, for your time this weekend. And surely the winter transfer window is closing, and clubs are quickly trying to regroup for the remainder of their football season. So let's start with perhaps the happiest set of fans for now. Manchester United fans have Bruno Fernandes. How does he solve any of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's immediate issues, though?
I think this is a great signing, George, for Manchester United. He's a number 8. He'll slot into that midfield as an attacking player. In terms of his style, he's Frank Lampard a type player, I would say. Listen, he's not at that level yet, but he plays in a similar mould. He can score from long range. He's brilliant from free kicks, brilliant from corners. He's really good at arriving in the box, scoring goals. 20 goals last season for Sporting. I know the Portuguese league is not as strong as the Premier League, but I was talking to Carlos Carvalhal, who's the manager of Rio Ave in Portugal. Used to manage Sporting, used to manage Swansea City, you'll remember, as well in the Premier League. He's seen Bruno Fernandes at close quarters, and I interviewed him for the BBC to get a scouting report about Bruno Fernandes, and he couldn't have been higher in his praise the way he described him. He says he really understands the game. He's a leader. He's someone who is dynamic, someone who will really improve Manchester United's midfield. He says he's got an antenna in his head, really understands football, very intelligent player. So I think this is a really good signing for Manchester United. They've got deeper problems I think they need to fix. But, we criticise them enough. Let's praise them for getting this deal done, because I think he really will improve the team.
Right then, a number of clubs will be going hard tonight and hopefully try to wrap up their business. Let's look at the needs of Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs and Barcelona, who seem very desperate as well.
Yeah, Chelsea desperate for a striker, aren't they? They need to get a striker over the line, and if they do, Olivier Giroud will leave. Tottenham, I think they're still in the market. There's even talk today, which is totally unconfirmed, by the way, but one newspaper in England, The Times, talking about Tottenham trying to get Gareth Bale back on loan. Gareth Bale's agent has always said that he would never go out on loan. He's too good a player to go out on loan. He's happy at Real Madrid, wants to stay for another 2 years. So, listen, it would be a massive surprise to me, but we've seen stranger things happen on transfer deadline day, haven't we? In terms of the other things we're watching, Dries Mertens, his name has been mentioned. Josh King at Bournemouth has been, mentioned, linked with Manchester United. It could be a fairly busy day, actually. I didn't think it would be going into it, but there seems to be a few bits happening, so it's one to watch over the next 24 hours.
John, on to the pitch issues next, and Bruno Fernandes could be starting for United in a tricky game against the Giant Slayers, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Nuno Espirito has accounted for the Red Devils already this season. Should we expect more of the same?
It's a tricky one. It's always a tricky game for the Big Six going to Wolverhampton Wanderers. They seem to play in a style which really can hurt the Big Six teams that attack them. And with Manchester United bringing in Bruno Fernandes, I think there'll be a lot of positivity around Manchester United. I think they'll feel that they can really get a result against Wolverhampton Wanderers. But Wolves will know that if they can win the game, then a top four place is more than likely. Chelsea seem to be doing everything they can to slip up and not grab that top four place. So there's an opportunity there for Tottenham, for Arsenal even maybe. They'd have to put a really good run together. Definitely for Wolverhampton Wanderers to try, and Tottenham as well, to try and push into that top four. So for both teams, it's a huge game.
Right, champions Manchester City face Spurs in another Jose Pep clash. Considering the problems both have encountered, who do you fancy coming out with all 3 points?
Manchester City confuse me at the moment. They've got issues at the back. Aymeric Laporte's still not fully fit, so he's not playing week in, week out. They really miss him. They've got problems going forward with the amount of chances they miss. Raheem Sterling in particular, I think it's 7 games now without a goal for him. They miss a lot of chances. They certainly did against Manchester United in midweek. As for Tottenham, they've got those issues replacing Harry Kane. They've got new players arriving. Bergwijn has come in. How can he improve the team? Will he start for Mourinho? Does Mourinho rate him? Was it his decision to sign him? So there are issues for both sides. I expect Manchester City, though, to have the edge and to win that game. Remarkably, though, Manchester City could go into that game 22 points behind the leaders Liverpool. Liverpool playing against Southampton on Saturday. You'd expect them to win that game. They've won their last 15 in the Premier League. 22 points the lead they could have on Saturday night. That is incredible.
John, let's end with critical ties you'll be looking out for. Leicester versus Chelsea is surely one that will keep fans alert. What else do you have?
Yeah, 3rd against 4th. Leicester City have to pick themselves up off the floor after that really disappointing defeat to Aston Villa in the EFL Cup semi-finals. They've got some issues, Leicester City. They seem to have slipped a little bit. They rushed Wilfred Ndidi back from injury. I'm not sure he's fully fit. He's a crucial player for them. So they don't look fully confident. Jamie Vardy's had this muscle injury as well. Is he fully fit? And Chelsea have got issues as well. Tammy Abraham not firing as he did at the start of the season. They find it difficult to break some teams down. Leicester are strong defensively, so it's a tough one for them. The big games I'll be looking at, though, in the relegation battle, you've got West Ham in 17th, Brighton in 15th. They're playing each other. That's a real nerve-wracking game. And 18th place Bournemouth taking on 16th place Aston Villa. Another really tough game that you won't be able to take your eyes off. The quality may not be there, but for drama, those games are going to be absolutely fascinating.
The BBC's John Bennett there with the wrap. We'll look forward to the games. Now let's check out the big games not to miss this weekend. Here's Joy Sports Moses Yaboa.
Quique Setien's Barcelona are set to host Levante over the weekend as the proverbial boxing match at the top of the league table enters round 22. But the big game is on Saturday as Real Madrid will be looking to move 6 points clear at the top when they welcome Atletico Madrid in the Madrid derby on Saturday afternoon. Los Blancos are currently 3 points ahead of second place Barca at the top, while Atletico occupy fifth with 36 points to show from their 21 matches. Two of the biggest rivals in Italian football will meet on Saturday as Juventus are preparing to host Fiorentina in a Serie A game. Juve are on top of the standings with 51 points, 3 clear of their closest challengers, Inter, who travel to Udinese. AC Milan will host Verona. In the German Bundesliga, RB Leipzig will seek to maintain their top spot in the duel at home with Borussia Mönchengladbach. Second place Bayern Munich with just a point behind Leipzig are away to Mainz 05, and Union Berlin will journey to fourth place Dortmund. The French Ligue 1 champions Paris Saint-Germain look very likely they will have a fairly routine game on Saturday as they take on Montpellier at home.
It's been a difficult window to operate in with price inflation, emotionally charged decisions and somewhat unpredictable reactions.
With leadership changes taking on the legacy of previous administrations in challenging circumstances, closing deals could be harder than many expected.
As the time to dot the I's and cross the T's comes to a close, will it be a big gamble or a chance to secure a successful future?
The clock is ticking. The closing of the January transfer window.
2 deadlines.
One place to hear it all.
Alright, so the Joy Transfer Countdown is on the Joy News Channel and Multi-TV. You have to join us at 9:30 p.m. We're going all the way till midnight. There's quite a lot to be chasing. Joining me in studio right now, just for a little bit of what to expect, Bill Lishon. Bill, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm fantastic, George.
Alright, so what are we chasing? Manchester United fans are still looking for a striker. What have you got to tell them?
Well, there has been some rumors of them chasing Joshua King of Bournemouth. They've already made a bid which wasn't accepted, but that doesn't mean that they cannot secure it before the transfer deadline day ends, because Bournemouth are saying that yes, they are searching for a replacement for him, but it is very difficult. So there is a chance that Manchester United,
Manchester United can still find a man. We'll be keeping tabs on that. How about Chelsea? They want a striker too.
Yeah,
Mertens, what's happening?
Yeah, they bid twice for Dries Mertens, but both of them were rejected on the spot. Now they are preparing their third bid, and they are waiting for the answer of Napoli, whether or not they would accept that it's going to be a problem entirely, because Olivier Giroud wants to leave, so they want to find a replacement for Tammy Abraham, who got injured in the London derby against Arsenal as well.
And we know that Olivier Giroud is definitely the likes of Inter Milan and Newcastle Spurs. I was just right on his radar. Not only that, Kevin Prince Boateng wants to move again this time. What are you hearing?
Yeah, yesterday they did mention that Celta Vigo were ahead of the race, but just this morning it has been confirmed that there are some advanced negotiations with Besiktas of Turkey. So there are some discussions over there, and hopefully Besiktas will be able to secure the deal before the transfer window closes in the end.
And that's one we'll keep tabs on as well. But we know Barcelona need a striker badly. They need a striker badly. What's happening with them now?
Well, it's been very, 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 very confusing. just yesterday they did mention that they were bidding 100 million
I like that word.
for Richarlison. I was surprised when I saw it. And also, I've been hearing that they want to take William for 20 million. And I'm wondering, what do they see in that guy? What exactly do they see in William to take him? But they're still in search of the striker. There have been names being mentioned around, but it's difficult to get them on a loan deal at this point because they're doing well for their clubs, and their clubs do not want to let them go, especially Lautaro Martinez.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they can take a Samojan.
Alright, thank you very much, Bill Lishon, for joining me. And it's good we end on that Barcelona note, because Komlado is up next with Headline News at 2, and he's a Barcelona fan. Komlado, you need a striker badly. Hope you can find him. That's it though for the locker room. We're back next week with another great edition of the show. Komlado, just a word there. Would you find a striker tonight?
It's hard.